Amos 5 verse 26. You also carried Sikkuth, your king, and Chion your idols, the star of your gods, which you made for yourselves. This verse is a prophecy of judgment from the prophet Amos, spoken to the Israelites. He is rebuking them for their idolatry and worship of false gods. Amos 5 verse 26 is a call to repentance, urging the Israelites to turn away from their idolatry and back to the true God. This verse is often linked to Acts 7 verse 43, where Stephen mentions the star of your god Rephan, suggesting a connection between the idolatry condemned by Amos and the later worship of false gods by the Jewish people. You also took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, images which you made to worship. Stephen's speech in Acts 7 is a call to repentance, urging the Jewish leaders to turn back to the true God and away from their idolatrous practices. Lesson from Amos 5 verse 26 and Acts 7 verse 43. 1. Idolatry is timeless. Idolatry is not limited to ancient times. We can create our own idols today, such as wealth, status, power, or entertainment. 2. Worshipping created things. We can easily worship things we've created or things that are not God, like technology, science, or even ourselves. 3. God's judgment is consistent. God's judgment against idolatry is consistent throughout history. He calls us to worship Him alone. 4. Repentance is necessary. Both verses call for repentance, emphasizing the need to turn away from idolatry and back to God. 5. Focus on the true God. We must focus on worshiping the one true God, rather than created things or false gods. 6. Be aware of cultural influences. We can be influenced by our culture and surroundings to worship false gods or idols. We must be aware of these influences and stay true to God. 7. Prioritize God. We must prioritize God above all else, avoiding the temptation to create or worship idols.
The symbol for water is the triangle pointing downwards. The symbol for fire is the triangle pointing upwards. If you go deeper, you will actually understand these symbols to mean the connection between man and woman. You connect these two, and this is how you get the hexagram. The air symbol is this, the upward pointing triangle with a line going through it, and the symbol for earth is its opposite, the downward pointing triangle with a line across it. These four symbols are all in the hexagram. So with all these symbols of witchcraft mixed with one symbol, you can see why it is such a strong symbol for witches and occultists. Triangles, forming a six-pointed star. You see the 6 points? From this symbol, you have 4 other symbols. This goes back to the symbols and elements used in witchcraft. These symbols represent the 4 basic elements, and it is what occultists and witches use to bring power within their spells. The basic elements are earth, air, fire, and water.
After viewing this video and my other videos on the relationship between church uniforms and the witch's pentagram, analyze your church's use of colors in its branding and attire or uniform. If all 5 elements of the pentagram are represented by the colors used, it could suggest that your church's founder, yes, founder, not present leadership, was deeply rooted in the occult. Joining an occult church can pose significant dangers to you and your lineage, including 1. Spiritual manipulation. Occult churches often use coercive tactics to control members' beliefs and actions. 2. Emotional and psychological harm. Occult practices can lead to mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, and trauma. 3. Financial exploitation. Some occult churches demand excessive financial contributions or make false promises of prosperity. 4. Social isolation. Occult churches may encourage members to sever ties with family and friends outside the group. 5. Physical harm. Certain occult practices involve harmful rituals or activities that can cause physical injury. 6. Generational curses. Some believe that involvement in occult practices can lead to generational curses affecting future family members. 7. Loss of personal identity. Occult churches often encourage members to surrender their autonomy and individuality. 8. Demonic influence. Some occult churches may open doors to malevolent spiritual entities, leading to demonic influence or possession. 9. Reputation damage. Association with an occult church can tarnish your reputation and that of your family. 10. Eternal consequences. Some believe that involvement in occult practices can have eternal spiritual consequences, such as damnation. Remember, it's essential to approach any religious or spiritual group with discernment and caution. Research thoroughly and prioritize your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
Thanks for watching. May the truth set you free and bring you closer to God, Elohim. Until next time, stay enlightened.